our new Vrindavan facility in West Virginia. But she comes here and graces her presence here to give her association and also the for sharing the message of vegetarian pastimes of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness. So, thank you, Mataji, for being here. And if you have cell phones, please keep them on mute or vibrate mode so that it doesn't disturb the class. So, please enjoy the class. Hare Krishna.
Project anything how to put it?
I will prepare something.
Good evening. Welcome to be here. Are there anybody who's coming here for the first time? Everybody here is. Oh, welcome. Thank you very much. I hope this is the first of regular visits. Since this is actually not going to be a regular class, I'm going to, instead of seeing Diana and whatever, and started thinking tonight about the desire time. We used to sing the Prabhupada. I haven't heard it for a while, so I thought, let's do that tonight. I think everybody knows it, right? divine grace. Eksi Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Founder of Tari, His Divine Grace of Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Ramachandra Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Lord Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, all glories, all glories, all glories to the assembled Kodis. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. How many people were here this morning or heard the class this morning? So I just want to throw in a few things along the vein of the class. So for those of you who weren't here, there was the Bhagavatam class, and every once in a while we find some statements in either the Gita or the Bhagavatam or something Prabhupada said that kind of like, wow, what is he saying? What does that mean? Does it maybe make some comment to the effect that women are less intelligent? Some of you have heard this, right? Yeah, you've heard this? And then, you know, like, what was your reaction when you heard that? Anybody say something? When you heard that, like, what did you think about it?
Yeah, the beginning it was very shock.
Huh?
In the beginning stage, it was very shock. After we hearing so many times, then we are Vaishnava, we are not a male or female, we are all whatever.
Yeah. So how did on the men's side, we've heard that, how did you feel? What was your reaction when you would read something like, oh, women are less intelligent? What was your reaction?
A little taken aback initially before I knew Prabhupada.
Yeah. Anybody else? Let me ask a hard question. Did you agree or disagree? Nobody wants to answer that one. So one time Srila Prabhupada was talking to Jamuna and quoted Chandra Pandit, who really likes to kickstart this, you know, never trust a woman or a politician. You've heard that one, right? Well, maybe there should be some background background to that kind of a statement. So taken as a statement broadly, it wasn't intended that way. Chandra Pandit was not a sadhu, he was a court person. And sometimes he spoke things on a level of experience and practicality and not intended to be broad statements applicable to everyone at every time. So in politics, it's like politicians in other words. So in politics, especially at that time, sometimes they would use ladies to bring down the downfall of a person, another politician. We read, it was mentioned today about Srila Haridas Thakur, who was not a politician, but he was a very powerful person because he was so Krishna conscious, and that frightened leading persons because he was attracting attention. And worse than that for them, because those leaders are Muslim, he was born a Muslim, and now here he was behaving like a Vaishnava, chanting the holy names of the Lord. So they thought, let's bring him down. Typical mundane, somebody's doing better than you, getting more attention than you, let's bring him down. That's the materialistic mundane response. So they sent a very alluring, beautiful young lady. And her mission, she was a paid lady, means prostitute. She was young, she was beautiful, they sent her in, and he's sitting, he's chanting japa, like the we chant with our beads. And she starts to exhibit various postures, trying to get his attention. because he wasn't responding. Like she was used to having men just like, whoa, fall all over her, but he was just chatting. And then finally, makes a remark and he says, yeah, I notice you, very nice. And she's telling him frankly, I want to enjoy with you. They're in a secluded place, anything that happened to would have known. And he very kindly said, all right, but right now I need to finish I took a vow to chant this name of the Lord. I'm going to finish it, please. So yeah, after, okay, we can enjoy it. But after never came. So she left and she had to report back. I'm sorry, it didn't happen, but he promised me next day, tomorrow I'll go again. Same thing happened. He tried to captivate his mind, agitate his senses. His mind was in full control, his senses were in full control. Nothing happened. But he assured her, don't worry, come back again. But finally, what happened? This young woman who, for a living, was paid to agitate the senses of men of all levels and enjoy, sensuous behavior with them. She became infected by the sound of the holy name uttered from the lips of the pure devotee Srila Haridas Thakur. So instead of Haridas Thakur becoming corrupted, she became purified. And still, and then people, Haridas told her, you just sit here, first he told her, give away all your possessions, your jewelry, your beautiful saris, everything you put in your face, and get rid of all that stuff, you don't really need it. You just sit here and chant. And he left this place to her, and he went somewhere else. And people began to hear about this young woman who had transformed, completely transformed. And they came to see her, and they did box, bring some offerings. And she didn't become inflated with pride. She was so humble and so pure-hearted after her encounter with Haridas Thakur.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
These things can talk on their own. So, was she a less intelligent woman? Now, you might have thought so when she went into the picture, trying to. But then, so were the people who were sending her in, who were men, trying to bring down her. That was less intelligent. But then what happened to her afterwards? Would you call her less intelligent? She surrendered to the holy name. She accepted Haridas Thakur as her spiritual master. That was definitely not less intelligent. Intelligence, they have in the mundane sense, they have a way of, they so-called measure your intelligence. And some people, according to your degree of intelligence, you might even be considered a genius. Like Einstein was considered a genius. Although there have been people with, so they call it your IQ, your intelligence quota. But we're not talking like, this is all mundane intelligence. You cannot put a quota on spiritual intelligence because everything in the spiritual world is unlimited, unquantifiable, and eternal. And once somebody becomes a devotee, then there's no way you can put them in a material category. Because you're no longer dealing with material intelligence, everything has become purified. One time, Srila Prabhupada was kind of teasing Jamunas, because it's so Jamuna, Prabhupada says, women are less intelligent. Do you agree? And to play along, he goes, oh yes. And then Prabhupada chastises her, he says, no, you are a devotee. You can never apply these kind of mundane concepts to devotees. Now you may say, well, then why apply them to anybody? But like, hey, it's raining outside. If I say it's raining outside, but you don't like the rain, you might not like it. Oh, it's raining outside. You know, that's the situation with the material world. It's back and forth. So it was a generalization, you know, that was a generalization on the mundane level. And there are so many beautiful examples in our lives. And I didn't have time to, maybe I was going to tell a couple more, but then it was so late this morning. But in early times, there was a husband and wife, Nandarani and Dayananda, and two beautiful daughters. And serving Srila Prabhupada. Actually, they went with their family, like I was mentioning, sometimes through in those days, sometimes we go to countries, very challenging situations to be dangerous to consciousness. And they went, the husband and wife and the daughters, they went to Iran. And suddenly a whole anti-American sentiment took over. And they were there preaching Christian consciousness in a predominantly Muslim country. Very, very brave. And Prabhupada would comment both of them, Nandarani and Dayananda, both of them are very intelligent. And Nandarani is more intelligent than her husband. I know that. I'm not saying that they were both, it's a fact, you know. And Dayananda, far from being offended, he felt so proud to have such an intelligent wife to help him in his preaching. One time, later on, they were in Dallas, Texas, at the first Guru Pool. And Prabhupada was coming. We hadn't been there for some time since the Divi's Radha Chanti had been installed. Anybody here's been to Dallas and seen Radha Chanti? Incredible views. I had a little hand in during coming. And Nandarani was offering the art was the art was not going on. The Divis were closed at the time. And she knew Sri Prabhupada would want to see the Divis. And then he would probably go into the temple expecting to see the Divis. So she ran in there and opened the curtain really fast. And just at that time, Prabhupada came in the room. And she's expecting him to say something about Radha Shanti. But what did he say? He said, "Oh, Nandarani, you are here." And when he said that, tears, literally, there was a witness to this, so this is how I know the story. Tears shot out of her eyes. And the person, Aditya, who was watching, tears came out of her eyes also. To see that wonderful display of affection. Do you think Nandarani felt less intelligent?
No.
Do you think she was affected by these statements? Not at all. She understood clearly. And then in another case, sometimes Prabhupada, he like, you know, I was telling one lady today, you need to have humor in your life. You need to have humor. Krishna had, he was very humorous sometimes. How he would play with the cowherd boys and they would play with each other and tease each other. It's not like Krishna didn't have a sense of humor. He had a sense of humor, otherwise there wouldn't be humor even in our lives. And Prabhupada also had a sense of humor. Before I forget, I'll tell a story about Prabhupada's humor, but as when he started out. So Arjuna and his wife Arundhati were together serving Prabhupada in different capacity. Arjuna was called by Srila Prabhupada Anandji, and he assisted him in the Sanskrit, in editing the books, getting the Sanskrit, and getting the translations and stuff. Prabhupada called him Anandji. And Arundhati was doing the transcript. Prabhupada would speak into the microphone, and then there was a little dictaphone, tapes would come out, she would transcribe those tapes. We also had a little son, Aniruddha. Now, two parts of the story here. At one time, they were asking the mother, Arundhati, to also do further, she did a little deity worship also, took care of her husband, took care of her kid, because I remember she was probably and doing some deity worship. And they were asking her to do more deity worship, and they said, don't get someone, she should leave her kid with somebody else, the boy Aniruddha. And she was like, what should I do? So she thought, well, I'll write this reading Prabhupada. What should I do? And there's a very well-known letter that Prabhupada wrote back to her, saying that these children are my kindred children, they're being sent to our care. But if you can't take care of your son, I will. And you know, it's like, do not be confused. The reading is very clear. Take care of this boy. So at one point, there was some darshan, something going on, and there was some discussion with Prabhupada and Arjuna. The whole family was there at that moment. And so somebody said, the boy, Aniruddha, he's really intelligent, like his father. And Prabhupada stopping and says, no, Aniruddha is intelligent like his mother. One time Prabhupada was so pleased with Arundhati's the service that sometimes ladies would just spontaneously give things to Prabhupada. Like they came, this one lady just offered bangles and offered them. Prabhupada was doing bangles. It was an affectionate gesture. And Prabhupada took those bangles and he handed them to Arundhati. And to this day she still has those bangles. Like when he gave me one time when he was pleased with the DVDs that had been purchased, which are now in Chicago, he said, put that in your hand. And he took off a ring and he dropped it in my hand. He said, does it fit? Very affectionate. So, you know, we have to understand this statement. We need to consider, you know, the context, the statement. We have to consider what intelligence means in this or other context. And in Sanskrit, there are several words that are translated as intelligence. One is buddhi, which refers to the ability to analyze, to judge, or discern. Another is metta. In the 10th chapter in the Gita, Krishna lists metta as among the 7 feminine qualities, and that type means mental vigor, wisdom, prudence. And earlier today I mentioned what's from the third chapter of the Gita, where Krishna says, let me read exactly what he said. Because my intelligence is such I can't remember things. Among women, this is Krishna. If you want to, you know, who's going to argue with Krishna? Unless they're a fool. So among women, I mean, fame, fortune, speech, memory, intelligence, faithfulness, and patience. 334. So somebody was asking me about that today. Like, if Krishna says he's in intelligence in women, then how can somebody say women are less intelligent? But again, we're not quantifying. Whatever intelligence we have, and we all have intelligence, it's given to us by Krishna. That's the point there. He doesn't say, I give you a cup of intelligence, I give you a pot full of intelligence. He gives you intelligence. It's up to us to use it. And when you use your intelligence in Krishna's service, it's not less or more, it becomes purified. If you use your intelligence for some foolish nonsense, definitely less intelligent. So these things are there. And we should try, as Prophet said, to don't be confused. It's very good, don't be confused. One other devotee, because she had been somewhat of a feminist, but then she became to Christian consciousness and she started seeing things in another way, that the real liberation wasn't the way it was being described. You can get anything you want. No, And she was a writer, and she had written many pro-feminist viewpoints, but now she was seeing things in connection with Christian consciousness. And so she was thinking, maybe I should, definitely those topics I shouldn't, but maybe I should give up writing and just take care of my husband and my daughter. And she asked Prabhupada, and Krishna has given you a talent. She knows that your talent is in writing. You can use that talent for Krishna. So there wasn't ever an issue where women were put down and put aside. Use it for Krishna. That's intelligence. Really. He encouraged everyone to work with our fullest and highest potential. So, just wanted to mention those couple of points. There was another one I wanted to mention. I wanted to take a pause on it.
Prabhupada was humor, he said.
Pardon?
Prabhupada was very humor, you mentioned. Humor.
The humor, yeah, but that was another one. That was another point that was Prabhupada. I wanted to, it was with Nandarani and Dayananda. So this has a little humor in it. They were having a problem getting a long-term visa in America. You could extend once, then you couldn't extend anymore, so it's discussing what to do and how to do it. And we were in LA. At that time, Nandarani and her husband had taken responsibility of the temple in Los Angeles. And that was before the DVDs were installed in Dorothy's. So, having a discussion what to do, how to do about this visa. And he looks at Dayananda and he looks at Nandarani and he says, well, perhaps Dayananda and Nandarani, perhaps they could adopt me. I could be their slightly older son. But on a more serious note, there was a young girl. She was just at that point 16. She had an older brother, slightly older brother, who was joined and he was initiated. His name was Krishna Das. And the mother was interfering with any possibility of the young girl coming to the temple. And this girl had a background that was really amazingly tragic in one way. When the mother found out she was pregnant, she didn't want to birth this child. To her credit, she didn't go looking for an abortion. But what she did do is she gave birth and walked out of the hospital and left the child behind. The newborn baby, she just walked out and left it. Now in California, they were keeping the family together, so somehow the family got reunited. But mom was really hard with her. And she would keep her out of school and send her out to go shoplifting when they were stealing. So she not only missed school, because she was missing school, her grades were really bad. And she had all the absenteeism. So then she saw the Bhagavad Gita, the first edition by Macmillan, and from her brother. And she became interested. So now she really wanted to go to the temple, but the mother was really not allowing it. And Krishna Das, her brother, during one darshan, he said, I know Swamiji, that's before we were calling it Prabhupada, Swamiji, is there something we can do to help my sister, Sarah? That was her name. And Papa looks and he goes, well, and she was sooner to the doctor. Now, she's 16, I'm 22. She's 24. Do you think we calculated like that? No way. The next day, I went down to the courthouse. I found out what to do to gain custody. Filled out the application, these forms. I filled them out, and we got an appointment to see a family judge. Myself, Shannon Cinder, and the girl, Sarah, and her mother, and the father. They weren't together anymore, but the father, So the judge, each one of us was called in by that judge. It was a lady, spoke to us, and then we're sitting out there waiting for her verdict. She comes out and she goes, well, this may seem unusual, that the daughter is 16 and the mother's 22, but I give custody to this couple, and she has, like that, and suddenly we have teenage daughter. At that point, I was actually just, in my early parts of my pregnancy. So, interestingly enough, my daughter, Sarah Swati, was born on the same day as Saradia. She became initiated. Sarah became Saradia, and a really wonderful painter. And so on the same day that my daughter by birth was born, but the other so that was very nice. But she was thinking, now I can go to school. I mean, I don't have to go to school. I can stay in the temple all day with all the other devotees, go out and chant. And probably told her you have to finish school. And it happened to be the school was one block down from the temple. And then we were this is really early on, 68, early 68. And I can't remember the date, it was maybe January 5th. And we weren't such a big presence yet. So it wasn't like, later on you would recognize the devotee by the dress. So I go to the school from the other school, they gave me her records. And I go with a tilak and I want to meet the principal, the head of the school. Why do you want to meet the principal? Because I want to enroll the student. Okay, so I go to see the principal, I hand it over, and I want to enroll her. Because we're living in the zip code where she can go. And he's looking and he's seeing her grades are so bad. Probably the highest grade was a D+, and with several Fs, And the attendance was abominable because of the mother. But I didn't get into all that. And he goes, this doesn't look good. I don't see it happening. And suddenly, every once in a while, when you get prompted by super soul, he said, you just know it. I said, I promise you, it will be different this time. Just give her one chance. And I was so forceful. He said, all right, one chance. So the next day, she's going to school. And her grades went up. She didn't miss a day, but still she didn't want to be there. And Prabhupada was coming back to San Francisco for a visit. And she's thinking, I have something to tell Swamiji. When he says, he's going to tell me, no, you shouldn't go, very bad. So Prabhupada, we're in the darshan, and here's what the very bad, what she was thinking. Swamiji, when I go to school, the boys bother me. I mean, she was beautiful. Blonde hair, big blue eyes. But sorry, tilak, boys didn't care if they bothered. And Prabhupada says, oh. He goes, yes, they want to come and see me. And Prabhupada says, oh, that's all right. When they ask for your address, give them the address of the temple. And that way, Krishna, Prabhupada was perfectly able to take care of the situation. And then later on, she asked him a more serious philosophical question. And he goes, just see this young girl, how eager she is for Krishna. And he looks at her, if you like, Krishna will kiss you. Does that sound like exchanges with somebody who was against women, who thought women were just so unintelligent? That no. So when we hear these things, we need to consider various aspects. The ability to understand and respond to things that may sound initially to us kind of like, wait a minute. So brought the Buddhi analytical intelligence made a nourishing practical intelligence. Prabhupada mentioned that for this reason, women generally, firstly, the Lord so kind, he doesn't show special favor only to one. He knows the sincerity of purpose. And he goes, for this reason only, women generally assemble in greater numbers in any sort of religious function. In every country, in every sect of religion, it appears that women are more interested than men. This is in the purport, in the first canto, 8th chapter. So both men and women, they have the Buddhi and the main types of intelligence, matter of degrees, So we have to avoid drinking conclusions about the person or a group or people based on what body they are wearing around their intelligence. One of the beauties of Krishna consciousness is that it sees past all bodily and mental differences to a higher spiritual truth. When we become devotees, we transcend these designations. And thus Krishna consciousness can actually unite all people, whether it's a religious, a race, or nationality, or age, or gender. So we always want to go for the higher purpose, keep that in mind. We never felt ourselves at odds with Srila Prabhupada. It was always encouragement, it was always nourishing. Like the purport I was mentioning today, that we should be friendly for the service of others, and appreciate the service of others. So I was wondering if anybody had any comments or questions on this topic. Not that I can, expertly answer them, but does anybody have anything they might want to say or ask about? So as Prabhupada said to you, you don't want to say anything, I mean, do you agree? Do you agree? We shouldn't, like it was that question today, like when people come and then they do these things, how do you approach it? Well, you approach it honestly and be yourself. Be a happy devotee. When people see happy devotees, then they're going to see an aspect of Krishna consciousness that's very attractive. And then these very minute statements don't hold so much weight or power. They only hold weight or power if you're not convinced. Or even worse, you're thinking, I'm a woman and I've just gotten attacked. No. I'm a spirit soul, an eternal blissful spiritual soul. And one thing when we came in here this evening, Concha just blown, our teacher started, and we had a beautiful little Vaishnavi leading the Gaur Arti. And I was seeing this is such a wonderful temple. It's very family oriented. If Krishna consciousness was adverse to ladies, why would anybody in a family come here? Why would you bring your wife or children here? But we're finding such a wonderful experience in Krishna consciousness. Just like in the first record that was made. So the very first record, Hare Krishna record, was in '66, by Srila Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Then he gives a little short statement, because it is so nice, you know, anyone can chant, even a child, even a dog. There's no bar for anybody practicing Krishna consciousness. And if you take these statements, some people take these statements, so they read a list of these statements, if they are disturbed by it. That's okay. But let's get a transcendental scale. Put on the scale these statements of constant confusion. And then put everything else on the scale. And these other statements are so minute, they're eliminated by the weight of the transcendental knowledge of Krishna consciousness and the statements. And if you wanted to start having body conscious statements, there's much more body, statements about less intelligent men and men that do things that are not intelligent. So we should just get off the bodily platform and understand if you are disturbed by something, find out what it is. Maybe it's because you're acting in that way. And we have an opportunity being pointed out and have an opportunity to adjust our behavior. There's nothing that prevents anyone from practicing and chanting Krishna consciousness. No questions? Nobody has any questions or anything about it?
Hare Krishna. Could you explain that particular fasting? You mentioned about Kalachanji. You said you also have a wonderful service rendered to Kalachanji Palace.
Oh, yeah. So myself and another lady, we were given the service. I don't know if we actually gave it, it was handed over, or we just took it on, but but we're in India, and some temples in America wanted deities. And there was, like now you can just, it's not so difficult. Those days it was a little mystifying. So myself and this other devotee, Shrimati Devi Dasi. Actually, there's a wonderful picture of Shrimati Devi Dasi with Prabhupada in June during the cornerstone laying ceremony. And Prabhupada's going down the ladder into the hole where they're going to put it onto stage. And Shrimati Devi Dasi is handing him all the items to be placed in. So he engaged us. Even, like I was telling you how how some of the men at certain points were finding themselves thinking women should not be in a temple chanting japa. Prabhupada was like, women go to the forest. You can't live in New York City because there's so many women in the city doesn't go to the forest. So we went to Jaipur and we didn't have any introduction. We didn't know anybody. We just like these two American ladies went to Jaipur and to find deities for 3 temples in America. And no, it was for 2. It was for Detroit and Toronto. It became 3. So Kalachanji and then the deities in Toronto. But then, as we were finishing up, we were in Murty Wallace, kind of like his little area where he had the deities on display, and they also did some of the carving. And there was a door that opened out into like a little gully outside. And the door was always open when we were there, so for some reason, I looked behind the door. And behind the door was this amazing, beautiful black monkey. So like powerful deity. And deities go through fashions also, like in the way they're carved and the way they're portrayed. And he was just so strong looking and lovely large head, very curvy body. And I'm just looking at him, and Shimati looks, she goes, this cleaning would be perfect for Dallas. The children would love him. And just on our own, we made the decision, we're gonna get this deed, even though we hadn't been asked to do it. We got that deed, and of course we had to find Radharani. And then there's this lovely pastime, so all 3 deeds were shipped to America. And it had to be received by somebody to sign in, so that person was the temple president of Detroit. And he chose the Radharani that he wanted for Detroit. But that Radharani had actually been intended for Dallas, for Kalashanji. So she's a little bit large. She's not bigger than Judy Hart. And then the Radharani that went to Dallas was actually the one who was supposed to be in Detroit. So some people, they're thinking, well, that was Govardhan, that was an temple president, he made a mistake. He didn't make a mistake. Couldn't be one of that Radharani and Kalashanji wanted that Radharani. And there's another interesting pastime. Because there's a lot of things that are not necessarily written down, but they occurred and probably gave the instructions and he expected us to take note and follow. And one was not making changes on the deity, particularly after they're installed. Happens a lot nowadays. After they're installed, they're starting to this is having a baby, and then they look at the coloplast surgery. I want a different kind of nose. I wanted the eyes another color, because they're all born with blue eyes. But you don't do it. So the deity was already installed, and the deity had been sent with conch shell eyes. But somehow or other, the eyes had gotten misplaced, lost, whatever, and so the eyes were painted on. And it was installed like that. Sometime a little later, one devotee found the eyes, and you put things in a drawer, and you put other things in the drawer, and it's, so she was cleaning the drawer, she found the eyes. And Prabhupada was there. She goes to Prabhupada. She can't show eyes. If you want, I'll put them on. And Prabhupada said, Kalashanji's eyes are fine the way they are. But Prabhupada, I heard that you wanted the conscious eyes, and I found them. I can put them on. Kalashanji, second time, Kalashanji's eyes are fine the way they are. Now it's installed. Yes. But Prabhupada, I heard that you said, and he said, stop there, because I'm Prabhupada. I am telling you, Kalashanji's eyes are fine the way they are. So we could say, here's an example of less intelligence, 3 times. I had a similar experience sometime on a morning walk. So he's asking me about where my dog is. There's some story about the history of the dog. And it wasn't on the morning walk. I'd come over to see him in Simpson Beach. I was staying there for recovery. And so I came, and with others, Simpson was there. So, oh, where is your dog? Because when I first met you, probably at the airport of San Francisco, we had this dog. And he came to the airport too. And he used to come in the temple and he'd sit down by the door in the temple. So one day, a few days go by, maybe about a week or so, and we meet in the temple and Prabhupada says, perhaps the dog should not be in the temple. Just like that, and then I understood. So the dog stayed outside. But still, he was there. Prabhupada knew it, no problem, but not in the temple. So in the meantime, I had kind of got a new home for the dog. I tried it once, and the dog was sent 101 miles north of San Francisco, and somehow or other he got back and showed up on the doorstep. And that included having to cross a bridge, a big one, Golden Gate Bridge. So, like, there he is again. And then we gave him to this other people who were, super hippie type of people. And the one person was a noted, actually published author. And they had the dog looking off the plates. And by that time, even I could see that was really gross. So anyway, but they took the dog and they went up to Portland, Oregon. So then we're going to see Prabhupada, and he goes, "Oh, where's your dog?" And I was kind of proud. Well, we gave him to these people, and they treat him just like a person. Dog is a person. But they treat him like a real person. No, not like dog is a person. But Swamiji, and he goes, "Dog is a person." And it was all of a sudden I got it. Dog is also a spirit soul. A spirit soul is a person. We had those little moments sometimes, They're not a, spirit soul is a person. Dog is a spirit soul, is a person. Another one of those aha moments. That's like an aha moment. You know what I mean? Aha moments. I get it. That I was cooking in the kitchen, and Janet was there, and a postman comes with an aerogram. I don't even think they have aerograms anymore. It was an aerogram for Swamiji. So we took the opportunity to take a pause in our cooking and bring the letter up. Janet in particular, she was always looking for a reason, and to go see Swamiji. She and her husband actually had an apartment 2 doors down from him. They did that, in the same hallway. And that was so that in case Prabhupada needed any help, they would be there. So we bring the letter up, knock on the door, he opens the door. Swamiji, so again, Swamiji got a letter. Oh, he takes it. Are you gonna read it? So to the blind, he opens up, he reads the letter. "Good news, Swamiji, good news?" He goes, "Yes. My sister has died." She was like, and you can tell by our faces, like she's asking, "This is good news?" He's saying, "Yes, my sister's died." And he goes, "She went back to Godhead." So we got this indication of we're into, because this was really quite early on, just a few weeks. So here's this indication, we're into something that's way beyond our comprehension. That good news could be that somebody left their body, but it was good news because they went back to God. And of course, she was quite old. It wasn't Pishima, it's others. We all know about Pishima, this other sister, but this was another one. So those moments that happened when I was kind of glimpse into the vastness of Krishna consciousness. And there was a lot yet to learn. And that's another beautiful thing, you can never know everything. We're constantly always learning.
Can you take a photo? Just a minute.
So I'll just take a little pause here because it's 8:30 and last night was like really late. It was a beautiful home program, bucket picture program in Detroit, but it went on for really late. So I kind of want to avoid that tonight. But if anybody has, ask if there's any other questions, comments.
Is there any pastime choosing our
I expect there will raising hand, so let's see.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to meet you in person last year in Vrindavan at your place.
Yes, I remember that.
And you mentioned that there's nothing that you would have done for Srila Prabhupada, or he would have done for you, or something along those lines. What was it about him that brought this sentiment in you? Like if you could,
That we would do anything for him.
yeah, like if there's any incident that you'd like to share with us that moved you the most, or maybe talk 2 or 3 qualities.
Yeah, well, one thing is, in general, I try to avoid being entertained, keep little Prabhupada stuff, you know, in speaking about Prabhupada and sharing different pastimes and interactions, it's with the hopes that will bring you closer to Prabhupada, understanding him. And I don't really have a favorite, because to me that's like cutting them up into pieces. I'll take this piece, you know, like the whole piece. So different times, you know, different interactions were there, and I cherished each one of them. And each one of them had some type of a particular lesson, certain ones more so than others, but I don't assign like, this is the top 3 category. Sometimes the most seemingly innocuous small thing might bring volumes of later on, maybe not even at the moment, later on you look back and oh my God, that was amazing. But why were we able to willingly follow his instructions? Why were we willing to just go up and leave one country and go to another country where we didn't know anybody, where we didn't have any financial, you know, security, and we didn't go there with any financial security? You know, how could we do that? And we didn't have credit cards, we didn't have, you know, GPSs, we didn't have cell phones, mobile phones, internet, we didn't have Zoom, you know, we didn't have WhatsApp. How do we survive? But people saw a person who at an elderly age himself, got on the boat, you know, it was a cargo ship, it wasn't a cruise ship. I've told this before, the name of the boat was the Jaladuta. And when you think of a cargo ship, they're pretty large vessels. And I heard they were going to dismantle, you know, scrap it. I wanted to see that boat, that ship, before it was scrapped. So I went to the dockyard in Bombay, and I'm looking, you know, there's all these big vessels, and I'm looking and I'm seeing so many names, but I'm not seeing Jaladuta, and I'm thinking maybe I missed it. But then I saw a fellow, a dock hand, I said, Jaladuta, where is it, where is it? He points down, because I'm looking up, he points down, and then I see this small boat. I mean, I wouldn't have gone out of the harbor in that thing. And Prabhupada went all the way out of Calcutta Harbor, around Cape Common, all around, you know, through the Arabian Ocean, through the Suez Canal, across the Atlantic Ocean, you know. He did that. He wasn't, you know, calculating what's going to happen to me. He had a mission, he was on a mission, and he had the orders of the spiritual master. And similarly, we saw in through the Prabhupada a person who was walking his talk. We use that expression, walking the talk. That he wasn't saying to us to do anything he wouldn't do or hadn't already done. One time on a morning walk with him in Calcutta, we came to the Victoria Monument. And Prabhupada was looking, he goes, yes, I was just a small boy over there going to this monument. And you know that here in America, we have like big solid steel scaffolding. And you know how in India you take some jute and tie some bamboo together, you know? So you can imagine what the scaffolding was there building that monument to Queen Victoria. And he said he used to climb up. They climb up this, you know, at night when they went, or later in the day, maybe they weren't there, you know. And so somebody goes, Prabhupada, you were so brave. And he goes, was? I still am, otherwise how could I come to your country? So we had in him an example. His name Abhai Sharan, fearless. He's, you know, a devotee should be fearless. It's a quality of a devotee, and he certainly exhibited it. Oh my God, there's somebody one time in San Francisco, wanted at the same place everywhere we brought the letter. So this some lady got through, but we had to be buzzed in, but she got in, maybe somebody else was coming out. She got in, she knew where his apartment was, and she went up, she was kind of crazy, you know, young man on the door. He opens the door, she pushed her way in. Swamiji, will you marry me? He goes, I can't marry you, I'm a sannyasi. But so he goes out to go over to Janaki because she wasn't leaving. He goes over to Janaki and Mukund to knock on their door, you know. And when he went out of the door closed, and now he's locked out. So Mukund goes over to, you know, take care of that situation. And Janaki, who was just like, she was not in the awe and reverence mode. You know, she was like the mother mode, or the naughty daughter mode. Something he referred to as this. And how is Janaki my naughty daughter? So she goes, Swamiji, don't ever leave your apartment. She's going like this. Don't ever leave your apartment without the key. don't ever do that again. And so many students. So he was, you know, we have a saying, you got my back, I have your back, you know, that means I'm here for you, right? So he was there for us. I was clear. And he wasn't doing anything, as I said, that he hadn't done or wouldn't do. And that was what gave us the courage to do what we did on his behalf. And it's still there. I mentioned to somebody today, or maybe it was during the class, and that Prabhupada said, you know, people say, bless me, bless me. Take the blessings with you, Prabhupada. He said to everybody, you don't need my presence for my blessings. Think of that. You don't need my presence for my blessings. Just attempting to serve, and how can we serve him? He gave a standing order. You know what a standing order is? Yes? No? You know, like this is standing order. Sometimes, like it was when you in the early days, distributing the books and going to colleges and getting standing orders that meant for any book in the future that would be published, you get that. But another standing order is the one that he gave to us. I want you boys and girls to help push on this movement. It's a standing order. It's there for all time. And anyone who becomes a member of ISKCON, you have that order. It's free and it's for everyone. They'll push on this movement. Because there is so much suffering in this world. And it's a fact. It may sound like, what can we do? There's just a handful of us. What could Prabhupada do? Just one person coming over on a little tiny freight ship. Didn't even have a hospital in it, or a doctor on the board, and he had heart attacks. A few years ago, I went on a cruise. It was a devotee cruise. Bhakti Pru Maharaj was there, Radha Swami was there, Chandravali Swami was there, Satyananda Maharaj was there. So we go on this cruise coming out of England. We went to a few countries like France, Portugal, Spain, different countries. In each country, we would get off the ship and do Harinam Sankirtan. And on this ship, we had a space that they allowed us to use in the morning. We had a full morning program. And we did one morning during the program, everybody else was like, you know, they weren't up yet. And so this one fellow, because there was like other people on the boat, we weren't the only ones. And so this one fellow, right during the morning program, he had some kind of episode and he fell out of his chair. Right away, they got somebody that, you know, in came some medical people on the structure, and they take him to a little hospital on the ship. Probably didn't have that. We would get off the ship, every place we got off, there was people waiting, there was a press, there was the mayor or whatever, you know, we were greeted like anything. The other passengers, like, who are these people, you know? Probably got off the boat, he said, I didn't know whether to turn right or to turn left. There was a person from a thing called Traveler's Aid, I don't even know if they still have it anymore. So they came and he had a ticket for a Greyhound bus ticket to give him, and they took him to Central Station. Now Central Station's been cleaned up, but in those days, it was just next door, it was just like being in the Bowery, people were just like crashed out all over, passed out, drinking, in a disgusting place, but that's where the buses came in and out. It took him there to get a bus to Butler, Pennsylvania, and the rest is history. He wrote in a letter to an acquaintance, sometimes, and at this point, he's staying in an office, a small office building, you know, in a building. So it wasn't even an apartment building. So he's staying, sleeping on the floor in this little office, which didn't even have to, he had to go to the bathroom, he had to go out in the hallway. And there was no shower, so he had to go to a public shower, walk to a public shower. Obviously, there's no stove or anything like that. And he's writing to a friend, sometimes it's difficult sleeping at night because he's hungry. You know, you just think about this. What he had to endure. And he didn't, sometimes he would go down to look and see. Please don't like to hear lectures. I always used to sit right by the door. My kid was in the mouth even beyond. I was out the door just somewhere in case it happened. Anyways, so that, you know, like the Christians are hung up, you know, Christ suffered on the cross for us, but he did, you know, he did. So when somebody does something on your behalf, there has to be some gratitude. And the best way to show the gratitude to your spiritual masters to follow his instructions are to do something for it. Just like Makunde he wanted to go to India and never done. And then it occurred to him that maybe he should offer to do something, you know. It's just like, it was so new, the whole thing. So he's just, you know, the first initiation was in '66 in Janmashtami. So there's just, you know, a few weeks later. And so, is there anything I can do for you, Swami? And he felt, well, then he told him he was in India. So probably didn't say why he joined India. He could have said it, he shouldn't. Just that maybe before you go, you could start another center. So then they came to California. That was the idea to start in the second center. Picked us up and we joined and started at second center. But a sense of gratitude has to be there. Somebody does something for you, something so wonderful. That's literally saving your life. Otherwise, you know, you're going down like everybody else, cats and dogs in human form. I was said, you know, only an animal is not grateful, and even some animals are grateful. They show gratitude. You know, they'll let you know by their behavior. You feed them something. So we should always be grateful. Krishna was grateful for the gopis, for the wives of the brahmanas. And Prabhupada was always grateful. You know, he was grateful to his Guru Maharaj. And he was grateful to his disciples for stepping up and stepping forward, even in circumstances that were not always favorable circumstances. I was telling you how yesterday how Ramananda and his brother went to Pakistan. What was happening to them there? So we were very happy to be able to somehow or other be part of Prabhupada's mission to spread Krishna consciousness. And I always want to remain in that situation. And then requesting all of you also to please take that to heart and do something, whatever you can. It doesn't have to be grand. You don't have to leave your families behind and do something. You can do a little thing, distribute prasad, tell somebody about Krishna. It doesn't have to be, a full-on production. Any small thing that is done in Krishna service is accepted and appreciated. It benefits your life and it benefits others. And Krishna, we're saved, okay, but what about everybody else out there? And there's Prabhupada had unlimited compassion. He would see kids digging through garbage for food. This happened in my court. We were living in a leaf place and they put the leaf place in a pile. And these little kids were scavenging. And Prabhupada, with tears in his eyes, was noticing this. And there's where the famous statement, no one within 10 miles should become hungry. At one point in that Bangladesh war, so he was having us cook and serve these refugees. We were living in tents that were leaking water. We didn't have any special arrangements for us. The same stuff we were feeding these people, we were also eating. That's, we didn't have any special arrangements. And we were getting this kind of like welfare food from this thing called UNESCO. And they sent the people out in their jeeps to see how things were going. So they saw we were feeding these people coming in, but then they saw we were eating it too. And they took exception, oh, we're not supposed to eat it. Well, what were we supposed to eat? Thank you very much. Krishna has given us such a nice situation. So we can show a little gratitude, invite people in. And when the heart statements come up, don't feel shy. Even if you don't fully get it, you get it that Krishna consciousness is wonderful. You get it that here we have a place where we're safe to be. We can joyfully dance and chant and take the beautiful darshan. And it's so nice that even the child really saw tonight. It's a family-friendly place. Thank you all very much for being here and participating in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement under the guidance of the Divine Mercy of Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Praise Malaki Prabhu ki. Notice, Prasadam is being served upstairs. Also, tomorrow morning, 8:15, we'll have another class by Hare Malaki. Please. I think we're going to